All right, so today we're diving into something pretty huge in the world of AI.
It's big news, all right.
It really is. We're talking about ChatGPT's makeover, but this isn't just like a new font or a fresh coat of paint.
No, not at all. This is like ChatGPT learn to fly.
Yeah, exactly. Like it went from riding a bike to piloting a spaceship or
Yeah.
something.
I like that analogy.
So we're going to break this all down, but basically OpenAI just got a ton of funding, billions of dollars, and they've used some of that to revamp ChatGPT. They're calling this new feature Canvas.
And it really does change how you use ChatGPT, especially if you're writing or coding, which
Which is, let's face it, a lot of people are trying to do these days.
yeah, who isn't?
Right. And luckily, VentureBeat just put out this really in-depth article all about
They
it.
always seem to get the scoop.
They do. So the article, it gets into like why this update even matters.
Yeah.
But first, what Canvas is it's basically this whole new way to interact with ChatGPT.
It's way more visual, more interactive.
Okay. So imagine this. You're trying to write, I don't know, an email. You want to sound professional, but also friendly.
That's always a tough one.
I know, right? So instead of that like endless back and forth you usually have in the ChatGPT chat window, Canvas splits your screen.
Okay.
So on one side, you've got your usual chat with ChatGPT, but on the other side,
Yeah.
it's like a live updating canvas where you can actually see your text taking shape.
Oh, wow. So you're like actually collaborating on the text.
Yes, exactly. You're not just typing commands and then waiting for something to pop up. It's more like you're working on a Google Doc with somebody, and you can see their suggestions and edits in real time.
That's a game changer.
Right. And the VentureBeat article, it gives this great example of how it works when you're writing an email. It's super smooth.
So it's not just for writing, though, right?
No, it's not just for us writers. It adapts to what you're doing.
Oh, interesting.
So say you're coding a website. Canvas can actually transform. And it gives you like line numbers and shortcuts and all the stuff developers love.
It's like it speaks your language, whatever you're working on.
Exactly. And this whole thing, like moving towards a more visual, intuitive way of interacting with AI, it's becoming a real trend in the field.
Yeah, it is.
It's like the industry is finally realizing that for AI to be truly useful for most people, it needs to be less robotic and more like you're actually working with someone.
Right, like a partner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, OpenAI, they're not the only ones making moves in this space.
Oh, right. The AI world is getting crowded.
It really is. So the VentureBeat article, it actually brought up this other company, Anthropic. They have their own AI chatbot called Claude.
Yeah, Claude's been getting a lot of buzz.
It has. And now it has this new feature called Artifacts, which sounds pretty similar to Canvas.
It is similar in some ways, yeah, but with some key differences.
It's like we're in an AI arms race now.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to one-up each other.
Yeah, it's good for users, though, right? More competition, more innovation.
Totally. So break it down for me. Canvas versus Artifacts. What's the deal?
Okay, so both of them, they give you that split screen view where you can see your work and the AI's suggestions side by side.
Right.
But Artifacts, it seems to be a bit more focused on visual output. Like you can actually see the results of your code running in real time.
Oh, so it's not just suggesting code. It's like actually showing you a preview of what it'll look like.
Exactly. Imagine like building a simple website or a game and watching it come to life right there in the interface.
That's wild. Okay, so that's a pretty big difference. It's like Artifacts is more about the final product, while Canvas is more about the back and forth editing process.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Canvas is really focused on making that collaboration seamless.
Like having a super-powered writing partner.
Exactly. Although there's one other thing to keep in mind, and the VentureBeat article touched on this too.
Okay, what's that?
Price. Right now, Artifacts is available to anyone using Claude, but to get Canvas, you need ChatGPT Plus or Teams, which are the paid versions.
Ah, so there's a bit of a barrier to entry for OpenAI's version.
Yeah, for now at least. But I think this all plays into a larger trend we're seeing, which the article highlighted.
And what's that?
This push to make AI more accessible and user-friendly. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a coding whiz or just someone who wants to write a better email.
Right.
These tools are becoming more intuitive, more visual, and that's huge for getting more people comfortable with using AI.
It's like democratizing AI in a way.
Exactly. And it's not just OpenAI and Anthropic. The article mentioned a couple of other apps, Hyperwrite and Jasper, that are also doing really interesting things in this space.
It's exciting, but it also makes you think, how far can this AI collaboration really go?
That's the big question, isn't it? Like, The article quoted OpenAI talking about collaborative work, but are we talking about a true partnership here, or are we just getting better at telling these powerful tools what to do?
Right, like are we training our future colleagues or our future competitors? It's a bit mind-blowing when you think about it.
It really is. It's something we need to be talking about because the implications of AI becoming more and more integrated into our lives are huge.
Totally. And I think that's a perfect segue into our next point. So for our listeners out there, like, what's the main takeaway here? Should we be running out to try Canvas and artifacts, or should we be a little freaked out? What do you think?
Honestly, I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah,
Like, the AI world is changing so fast.
it really is.
And these new tools, Canvas, artifacts, they're just the beginning. We're moving towards a future where it's going to be harder and harder to tell the difference between what's human-made and what's AI-made.
Which is kind of scary, but also really exciting.
It is both, for sure. But the important thing is that we can't just ignore it. Like we have to be aware of what's happening and be ready to adapt.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But the article we're talking about, it was mostly focused on the good stuff, right? Like how AI can help us be more creative and work better together.
Yeah, that was the main focus.
But there's got to be a flip side, right?
Yeah.
Like, what about the downsides? The unintended consequences?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Because it's like we're giving these incredibly powerful tools to more and more people.
And we don't always know how those tools will be used.
Exactly. Like someone could use Canvas to write an amazing screenplay, or they could use it to create some super convincing fake news.
Right, and that's why it's so important to be having these conversations now while this technology is still being developed.
So we can kind of steer it in the right direction, hopefully.
Exactly. It's about being aware of both the potential benefits and the potential risks of AI.
And that brings us to what I think is the most important part of any deep dive, that final thought-provoking question for our listeners to ponder.
Always love a good brain teaser.
So here it is. The article talked about how these new AI tools can help us collaborate better, right? But what if those same tools could be used to, say, create deepfakes that are so good you'd never know they weren't real? Or to write spam emails that are impossible to filter out?
Oh, wow.
Or even to create propaganda so believable that it could sway elections?
It's a scary thought.
It is. And
Yeah.
it kind of highlights the fact that as amazing as these AI tools are, they're just tools. The responsibility ultimately lies with us, the users, to use them ethically and responsibly.
Couldn't agree more. The future of AI isn't predetermined. It's shaped by the choices we make today.
And on that note, I think it's time for us to sign off and let our listeners go do some exploring of their own. Go check out Canvas, experiment with these new AI tools, but most importantly, keep those critical thinking caps on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone, and until next time, stay curious.